Hi, California Sheet Metals team. My name is Scott Larson. I'm a pre-sales technologist here at UKG Ready, and I'm here today to walk you through the certified payroll and reporting aspects of the system. And to start off with, I just wanted to, if you haven't seen the system before, give you a little bit of a lay of the land here. We're logged into the system as an administrator. You can have different users that have different levels of permission. Chris here has access to everything. And then within that, I would have different areas that I need access to listed at the top as tabs. Those are typically represented by the different modules that the system that you're going to use, payroll, HR, etc. And then within those tabs, of course, you can just create your own. So the system lets you be flexible, build everything to your exact needs. We do all that for you during implementation. Everything I show you here today, we're going to have pre-built for you, ready to go based on your needs. And then beyond that, you have complete control of the system. So if you need to change something, add something, these aren't things that you would need to come to us for. You'll have complete control to do whatever you'd like. So I'm starting out here today under the certified payroll tab. For certified payroll, a couple of pieces here, and I definitely want to talk about how we're going to get the data in for these. Let's start with the jobs. Just making an assumption that today the jobs are stored in your ERP. So they're over in Spectrum, and we need those jobs here in our system. I've created some jobs here, certified jobs, construction, some different contracts, and then within each of those contracts, I've got these different jobs listed there. These jobs here, pretty basic information. I've got the job name listed there. And then down here, there's a check to tell the system whether or not the job's certified. You can also enter any sort of related information that you might need for that certified job. So I do have some certified jobs already there in the system. To get these from Spectrum into our system, there is an initial import that is processed and then scheduled to run automatically. So when we talk about imports, this is something you have full access to. Under the import section here, there's a section called Overview. And within this Overview section, all of the different imports are listed, and it gives you the individual templates. So this one here, for example, those are cost centers where our jobs are stored. This is tied directly to this template. And this, I've given the basic template here. Really what we're looking for is the cost center name. That's all the information that we need. There's a lot of other fields we can track, and you can actually customize the template yourself by removing things that you don't need. If I don't need this value, I simply go in and remove it off of there. The column headers are the important part. That's how the system's going to know. So those match up. But anything else, you choose what data you want to pull into the system. There's an instructions page here that's going to give you each of the fields that are available, descriptions, what's required, what's not. Basics are red's required, everything else is optional there. Once that is established, Spectrum provides us, let's say, a CSV or Excel file, whatever the case may be. If Spectrum's pushing that out nightly, our system will go automatically pull that in on a schedule. Typically, it's just set to run once a night, but I mean, if you needed it running every hour, for example, you could do that as well. There are other imports in the system too. One we'll be talking about in a little more detail in a moment is going to be the Traxpera data, the data that's coming over from there. Traxpera, as I understand, is capturing the timekeeping. Since it's doing the timekeeping, we do have a timekeeping system, but we're sort of circumventing that and just dropping the data directly into payroll. So here we would expect then Traxpera to feed us, whether it's regular, overtime, double time, the various types of time that you might have, the number of hours. And then we've got a place here for rate. So if Traxpera is tracking the prevailing wage rates, it could feed those directly to us. If it's not, I'll show you in just a moment how we could store and process those rates in our system. So this is one of those areas where we could do the work, they could do the work. It's really just where is it going to work best for you, and we will make that work. This is another import. This one typically isn't done nightly. This would be done more like at the end of the pay cycle. A user says, okay, let's pull over the Traxpera data and drops that in. There are dozens of others of these available to you. If there's any specific import template that you're interested in, please let me know. I'd be happy to provide any or of all of these to you. So just let me know what I can do for you there. So we've got the initial get the jobs into the system. The next thing is the prevailing wage rates. As I mentioned, if TrackSparrow has these, great. If they don't, we can store those here in the system. We can have the associated rates with the different jobs or the position the person's working, and based on where they're working, all those factors, the system will pick that up and pay the appropriate rate. So you're just assured compliance. It takes care of the prevailing wage for you. Or again, if TrackSparrow is doing it, great, they could feed us the rates as well. There is an import for that. So if you want those in, we just import those in, just like we talked about with the jobs. And then from there, when I'm ready to process payroll, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go in and choose, of course, the pay cycle that I'm working with. And I'm going to do something called initiating payroll. This generates blank pay statements for all the employees. And then from there, depending upon exactly how you use the system, you're going to import that time from Trexpera. When you do, that's going to create pay statements, and you're going to be able to view each employee, hours, gross pay, deductions, taxes, and so forth. You'll be able to see that by individual there. Now, this isn't necessarily really a report. I mean, it acts a little like it with Excel, and I can certainly go in and add columns up there and add additional data to it if I'd like. But kind of the purpose of this screen is more for overrides. If I did want to go in and adjust a rate, or I wanted to go in and change a code from regular to double time or whatever the case may be, I can adjust that there. So that's more like for overrides is what you'd be doing in here. And we've got it in this format, like one by one. We also have a payroll grid. So if you prefer to do multiples at once, you can do that too. So once the pay statements are in there and we're ready, we're going to do the standard payroll stuff, but at this point, if we're ready, we can go in and run reports. Now, it's my understanding you're not using the federal certified payroll form. We don't have the state forms in the system, but we do have the data necessary for the state forms. So this is data you could simply come in here and export out to whatever system you were using to generate those state forms. This is a report, and let me show you a little bit about how this works. These are earnings. Well, I want this by job. I need to know by the job. I've got the job over here. I just tell the system, hey, let's group that up. And now I've got the same report listed out by job. So there's my certified jobs and the amounts and the hours and so forth. Now, if I want more detail than that, I can go in and tell the system, hey, I need the employee name in there too. Let's go ahead and group that up. And now I've got that same report here by job, by employee, and then detail within the individual employee there as well. So as much detail as you'd like in the reports. Now, let's say there's data I want to add to this report that's not in the list here. Come up here, add remove columns, and then in here, I'd go in and say, oh yeah, I need to get the double time. Okay, double time. Do you want the dollar amount? Do you want the hours? Do you want both? And this bottom record is for piece rate. So if you had that like a manufacturing type thing, that would be there. But I can just add those into my report. Same thing with overtime or any other detail you want, just type it in and then come in here and move over the field that you want to show up in the report. So that's how easy it is to add those into any report. Remember, the reports will be pre-configured though with that data. You're not going to have to do this unless at some point in the future you're like, hey, it'd be nice if we had this field or that field. Then you can go in and add your own. And once you add those values into the system, by the way, you can come up here and do a save as. And now I can go in and rename this job project with OT and double time or whatever I want to call that. Here I can make it my default share. Do I want to share this out to other users, other managers, for example, or administrators? Am I sharing with everybody, or am I going in and picking and choosing who I'm going to be sharing with? So you've got all sorts of options there for the data. And of course, all of this, once you've got that in there, here's your export option. Exporting you can do by CSV, Excel, PDF. Just really depends upon the report and the type of output you'd like in there. So a bunch of options for you there. And of course, you can format your output. What columns do we want to put out? Are we putting delimiters in there? It's a full, reporting tool. It gives you the data in any format you'd like. Now, this is all part of payroll. So at this point, I'm still just in processing my payroll, getting ready to go. It's listing out, think of these as kind of favorites reports that I've got in there. I've got, employees who didn't receive a paycheck. When I'm done, I've got my general ledger. I can preview this type of data. We don't have you don't have to wait until it's finalized to see that. You can go in and preview all that. But on top of that, if I just go back to my main certified payroll dashboard here, I've got a section up here for my report hub. And what this is a listing of all the reports that are out there in the system. You can go to any given category. And these, by the way, are listed by what we call popular solutions. Basically, we query our customers and see the most commonly used reports and order them out there. So you don't have to think, which report do I need to use? The reason is there are a lot of reports, there's pre-builts just ready for you to use in the system, all these pre-builts out there. And then on any report you like, you can simply go in, click on the report, and at that point you can do anything you'd like with the report. So every report will come with a default. You can go in and add, remove as many values as you need to that report, and of course you can go in and sort and group this data any way you'd like. So there's all sorts of different ways to view the information, and then save it with all sorts of different formats. So here's one with the earnings, deductions, and taxes. Here's one I made that includes the rates. This one's got both the record rate meaning what they were actually paid, and then their base rate. So I've got their base rate there. Just a quick example. If I go into the add remove, and again, we've got like a little library of these for you, but I type in the word rate and I've got all sorts of rates in here. I want to see it in US dollars, and I want to see, the employee's base, or if they got a shift differential, that type of thing. I could see any of that in there just by adding that. I'm sure you've noticed by now, but there's custom columns in the system as well. This means we can go in and say, well, you don't have the exact data, but I really just need to take this and multiply it by this. We've got those abilities too. There's the ability in the system to go in and add, multiply, subtract, all those types of functions. Pretty much anything you can do in Excel, you can do here. And then there's also pivot table functionality built in the system as well. And this is all just, drag and drop. So I can go in and say, all right, let's grab the employee name. Let's get their base salary, hourly rate in there, and their hours. And let's go ahead and throw in an amount here and apply. And from there, I can use that and build charts and graphs and different things with that data. So all of that in there for you too. And once you get this, of course, looking the way you want it to, save up here, and then you can sort of, trying to think of the best verbiage for this, you can sort of publish this too. So once I save this, then over here I can add it to this page, and then down here, let's change that back to our grid. I come down here and I go in and I want to edit that, and I can label it and call it whatever I'd like, my pivot table. And once I've done that, once I've named that and chosen a chart type, that's now available for me to put anywhere I'd like in the system. So if I wanted that report out here, for example, I just go in and hit enable edit mode, add a pivot chart in. We've got a bunch out there, of course. We'll go ahead and choose here it is here, my pivot table. And then that adds that pivot table right out there. So anyway, just to give you a feel for some of the reporting capabilities that are built into the system, back into the report hub, there is a report builder as well. The report builder works off of the existing reports like we just saw. So it's not, you don't have to build anything from scratch. It gives you like a template to work off of and you can build up from. So I'm hoping this has given you a good quick overview of the payroll, the certified payroll process and the reporting tools in the system. Of course, we'd be happy to answer additional questions, send you examples. Anything we can do to help you out, please let us know. Thank you.